yards, take the exit, M25, towards Dartford crossing, then take the motorway.
I'd like to turn to another matter, which is that very influential backbencher Steve Baker has talked today. He's written
Take
in the
the
Times,
exit, then take the motorway.
Saying we may have to remove our leader. Do you think Boris Johnson can...
Thanks, Jules. We've got an overturned lorry causing severe delays, so there's 2 lanes closed. Queues for 6 miles on the M25, going anti-clockwise at Junction 8 for the Reigate turn-off. Congestion back towards Junction 9 for the Leatherhead. An accident's been reported on the A2 heading east, which means it's heavy around Bexley Heath. That's because of issues with the traffic light timing on the A2 in Alton-under-Blean at the M2 at Junction 7. In Bexley, there are emergency repairs and 1 lane closed on the A2 going into town after the Blackburns interchange. In Hyde, an accident's been reported on the A259 Seabrook Road at the Fountain Hotel. And in Southborough, there are queues on the A26 London Road through the roadworks near Meadow Road. That's the travel, more in half an hour.
Julia George.
It's a hypothetical question, but it's a simple one, because if MPs are found to have deliberately misled the House, the expectation is that they will resign. So I'm just asking if that also applies to the Prime Minister.
Well, as you said, it's a hypothetical question, and we need to wait to see what the report says.
David Rutley there. Well, let's turn back to Steve Baker, because I understand we have the line to him, the arch-Eurosceptic Conservative MP, who would like to see the Prime Minister go. Good afternoon, Mr. Baker.
Very good afternoon. Apologies for the signal there.
No, it's not your fault. Very good to hear you loud and clear now. What I'd asked, but we couldn't hear your answer, was why you are so keen that he goes.
After 1.2 miles, keep left.
Yes, I absolutely was, and in many ways I'm still a fan. He's got calls, there's some of the big calls right. You know, he made this country with some encouragement the freest, earliest over COVID. I think that's a fair statement and characterisation. And of course he's getting the big calls right on Ukraine, so it's in a sense tormenting to be in this position. But how could I stand over and take responsibility for defending having parties on Downing Street when some of my constituents will say to me, I wasn't able to hug my mother at my father's funeral. And, you know, I've laid my position out clearly, but I have to say, just to be clear for your listeners, I also accept we've had a democratic vote here, which we need to respect. My position is that circumstances may change, and circumstances may arise in which we need to change the rules.
And this is, as I understand it, because I was going to ask about the 60% of his...
After 800 yards, keep left.
They voted confidence in him. But your fear seems to be what would happen if the Privileges Committee, who's carrying out this investigation that I mentioned to David Rutley, into whether the Prime Minister deliberately misled that they may find that if they find that he does, you don't think he'll resign?
Well, I think that there is a danger that he wouldn't resign. Yes, I think that there was a danger he would try to justify the position. And since the elections to the 22 are coming up now, I find I need to give my position now, and my position now is that
keep left.
If circumstances arose where, contrary to the ministerial code, the Prime Minister was found to have knowingly misled Parliament, then and he failed to resign, that would be an extraordinary situation, and I think in such circumstances the 22 would have to take the grave step of changing rules. But let's make no mistake. It would be a grave step to change rules which are there designed to promote political stability. I accept the vote's result, but what I'm saying clearly is if the Prime Minister's found to have knowingly misled the House, then he simply must go, and if he won't go in those circumstances, he'll have to be removed.
There's an awful lot of ifs there. If he's found to have deliberately misled the House, if he doesn't then resign, which surely would be extremely unlikely, because that is the expectation in the House, that someone who deliberately misleads or found to have deliberately misled their colleagues would resign.
Well, yes, you would like to think that it would be extraordinary, but I admit that it doesn't often happen, but one of the jobs of members of Parliament is to think ahead about rules and their consequences and what you do in certain circumstances, and I'm afraid the moment has come to be thinking ahead and to ask ourselves, what if the Prime Minister's found guilty and doesn't resign? The elections are short. I've set out my position.
Even though, if he didn't resign, the 22, the current executive of the 22 could go to him, couldn't they? The men in grey suits, as they're typically
just ignore them, wouldn't they?
and say, look, the party thinks you should go. Do you not trust them to do that?
Well, I do. I mean, of course, I was on the executive for most of my time in Parliament. It's almost 10 years, so I've with you, I want my colleagues to have thought, what if he doesn't resign? What if he goes for an early general election? What if he insists on the threat of removing the whip? Colleagues must give him confidence in the House of Commons.
We're talking about the 22 though, and there's also the cabinet. He has a cabinet around him. What do you think of the role they've played?
Well, I tried to say generally, you know, that as a humble backbencher, I am looking to the cabinet for leadership in this moment. And, you know, we've got people who aspire to be the next leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister. You know, I'd like them to rise to the moment. You know, I am looking to grip this issue so we don't degenerate any further.
Do you think there are people within the cabinet who want to move against the Prime Minister?
I wouldn't like to
After
say that
1.2 miles, keep right.
I think the truth is we'd all desperately like to avoid a leadership contest. It's not what the country needs. I think when my colleagues have defended the Prime Minister and said that, they make a very strong case. It's extremely inconvenient. It unanchors history. It leaves the country facing political instability. It makes it very difficult to make progress on the Northern Ireland Protocol, on the cost of living crisis. It would be an incredible inconvenience to have a leadership contest. And yet, when you listen to the public and you hear what people say when they expect fair play and honesty from their politicians, I have to say that much as I absolutely accept the vote of no confidence result, the Prime Minister's got the confidence of the party. We need to knuckle down, muster great sensibility and vote with his business. But I just would ask my colleagues to think forward, what if he won't go after he's been found by the privileges, if he's been found by the privileges and misled.
Steve Baker.
After 800 yards, keep right.
Here on the World at One, we've been reporting on the dramatic rise in vaping among teens. One father emailed us at worldat1@bbc.co.uk to say that his 12-year-old had
Keep
become
right.
addicted to vaping, and when they took her vape off her, she refused to go into school for days. For her sake, we are not naming the family. I spoke to him this morning.
The beginning of this was when my daughter went to secondary school and we started noticing changes in her behaviour. One of the things we found was she was struggling to get up in the mornings, she was irritable.
Follow M25 towards Stansted for 15 miles.
We then, just looking for something in her room, we stumbled upon a vape in her pencil case. It's called a pencil case, and of course, you know, these vapes, they look a bit like fluorescent marker pens. They're really easy to carry. They fit snugly in an inside zip pocket in a blazer, or as I say, in a pencil case. But they contain about the equivalent of 50 to 200 cigarettes. They're advertised as 600 to 3,000 puffs. So finding a single vape in your child's pencil case is a bit like finding, you know, a carton of 200 cigarettes. That's when we realised that this could be a problem.
I mean, people would say, look, vapes are not like cigarettes because they're not as harmful. What was your experience with it?
Of course, we confiscated the vapes and we started searching for more vapes, and at one point she just seemed so lethargic, wouldn't get up, and we thought, this is withdrawal. She's so ratty with us, so argumentative, we thought she's got nicotine withdrawal. We also noticed our daughter complaining that her gums were bleeding when she brushed her teeth, and then she stopped brushing her teeth.
What, she stopped brushing her teeth completely?
For a while, yeah, for a while, for a few days. We'd have to remind her and not bother her about the importance of brushing her teeth. We thought, where are these coming from? That's the other thing. Because they're not cheap, they're about £5 each. And we just wondered where she was getting the money. We stopped her pocket money so she couldn't buy more. But of course, it just takes a couple of pounds to get one of these things. And it's very easy to go online and just buy these things online with no age verification. You can Google vapes, Elf Bar vape flavours, the website pops up straight away, and you simply click I'm over 18, and it takes you straight through. In fact, another thing I should say is the way that these arrive, they're deliberately concealed when they're posted out to kids. They're deliberately concealed so as to look like sweets.
What do you mean? In what way they're deliberately like sweets?
Well, on 2 occasions, packages arrived for my daughter, which my wife opened, and they had sweets in them. Packets of what looked like ordinary sweets, so she thought, well, okay, this is fine, it's just some sweets online. Third occasion, my wife thought, this is strange, why is she ordering all these sweets online when you can get most of these in the shops? She opened the packaging up, and it had been replaced with a vape.
And when you confiscated the vapes for the first time from your daughter, what effect did the nicotine withdrawal have on her, apart from being ratty? Did she go to school fine?
No, it's very hard to tell whether it's purely the result of the vaping or it's a mixture of moving to a big school. But no, she refused to go. We've had lots of problems with refusing to go to school.
Right, which you put partly down to a nicotine withdrawal.
I put it partly down to nicotine, and I put it also partly down to social media. I think the two are really interconnected. I don't think we would have this vaping problem if we had proper restrictions on the use of sites like TikTok and Snapchat. I mean, TikTok and Snapchat are really the gateways to get hold of these. There are handles or IDs on TikTok which have innocuous names suggesting they're just selling sweets. Actually, they're all about getting hold of all kinds of drugs, and they've advertised their Telegram or their Snapchat channel to send users over that to these encrypted places where you can order these things. So vapes, in a way, vapes are the tip of the iceberg.
What does your daughter say when you challenge her about not vaping?
I don't think she understands the dangers. She says, when we first spoke about it, she said, "Oh, what are you talking about? It's just flavoured air." That was her quote, it's flavoured air. And I think, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but there are vape companies who will say that basically that is what it is, that there isn't any harm, or at least there isn't any proven harm.
Well, nicotine is a known dangerous and addictive substance. If you look at the small print, and it is extremely small, if you look at the small print on a pack of these Alpha Bar ones which will come in, it says in tiny print, fatal in contact with skin. Fatal.
What's your feeling about how we are treating this as a society?
I think we are completely oblivious to the dangers. I know that when vaping began, it was positioned as an alternative to smoking, to tobacco, a smoking cessation aid. That was how it was promoted. But now it's really a gateway to tobacco, a gateway to other drugs. These are completely geared at kids.
We asked Alpha Bar for a response. They've not responded. Snapchat told us using its platform to buy or sell drugs, including vaping products, is against its rules, and say they remove content.
Message received.
Accounts.
Do you want to hear it?
TikTok said it strictly prohibits content that depicts or promotes the sale, trade, or offer of tobacco, including vaping products. The UK Vaping Industry Association told us vaping devices are an adult product, but there are rogue traders out there who have no problem selling. We will be doing more on this story. I've been reporting at a school and hearing the experience of teenagers, which we'll run over at some point in the next few days. Now then, moving on. Hannah Organ and Jeremy Larkin were at the Stag Inn in Hinton Charterhouse near Bath, planning their August wedding on Sunday. They decided on their first dance, A Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay. Then they realised
Message received. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Sorry, I cannot read this message.
which one would you choose?
Neither.
Because the girl I work with in BR, she went back to Watford with her husband. She didn't like Swindon.